Hi, welcome to Pop Therapy and True Crime Files, where pop culture, intuition, and true crime collide. My name is Miriam, and I am a psychic medium.
And my name is Denise, and I am also a psychic medium, and this is where we decode the drama.
It really is where we decode the drama. All right, so tonight, after this show, we are going to be exclusively on Patreon. As you guys know, we have our hot take post show. You can scan the QR code right there. And tonight we're dedicating it to the royal family. Everything is going to be about them. The cloning. Denise is frozen for some reason.
Oh, I am?
There you are.
Okay.
I was like talking away and I'm like, oh my God, she's frozen. Should I say something? I'll just keep going.
I'm here.
So
unfroze.
She's unfrozen. Hot take post show royal family. After this, scan the QR code. We offer a 7-day free trial. It's really fun. And we talk about self-care. What are you watching on TV? It's really fun. We totally chill and have a blast. This Thursday, the Psychic Tea, Denise and I live on Patreon, where we're going to answer your questions regarding celebrity drama, pop culture mysteries, true crime cases, whatever you are still curious and wondering about. And or for those of you on Patreon, if you have a personal question, please submit it. You can submit it in the comments that night. You can DM us on Patreon, or you can send us an email. A lot of options. We're really excited to talk about something new. Denise and I have started a new series on Patreon, and it is called The Cosmic Circle. So we really felt like in today's day, the world and energy being what it is, we needed a place where we could come together in circle and prep for the week ahead. So what we do every Sunday morning, you're going to get your weekly reset. It's a gentle space to breathe, realign, make sense of all the energy around you. We translate the week's moon phases and zodiac energies into plain language and guidance you can actually use. And then we end it with a grounding meditation. So there's so much that we put in, but we put it in bite-sized pieces so we can all get it and it's not overwhelming. Like, really, when Denise and I were talking about putting something like this together, for me, the big thing was, like, when you start talking about the zodiacs and the moon and all of that, like, it just kind of goes over my head. Like, after a while, I tune out. But I want to be able to align with those things so life is just a little bit smoother and easier, because we all know when you align with these things, it makes things easier. So Denise breaks it all down into small pieces so that it's manageable. So I'm going to give you guys a little teaser of what that is. What is your default for safety and security? For most of us, our default is to look at what we are not, and then we tend to identify through what we are not. I'm not that. I do not behave like that. I wouldn't make that choice. But for today's conversation, when we talk about safety and security, what makes us feel safe and secure tends to be a default emotion that is more damaging than truly safe and secure.
Put your hand on your heart and just kind of take a couple deep breaths and just re-regulate your nervous system. And you just go, and that just immediately calms you down. when we talk about energy, we're not just talking about energy of people. We're talking about technology. We're all on phones, computers.
You had mentioned doing the dishes can be a very meditative state. After you said that, it not just changes the perception, but I genuinely feel after.
Just like in meditation, you're nourishing yourself, you're caring for yourself, you're caring for your home, and you're caring for your family, you know, and that gives you a whole different perspective of, oh my gosh, there's one more thing on the list of things to do today.
Really excited for that. Aren't you, Denise? It's really fun to do. Oh, I can't hear you. Hold on. You're muted. Hold on. Okay, start over.
It was really fun to do. I really enjoy sharing those tips and helping everyone, but, you know, especially women understand what's going on, because we're, you know, if you kind of hop over there, you can get the freebie right now, but you just got that little bit of teaser because we're still in the new moon phase. So you still might be feeling a little tired and a little off. And this helps you to understand why.
Why? The why behind what we're feeling. Okay, you guys ready to get into your dose of pop therapy for the night? There's a lot happening. Let me look at the comments really quick. Hi guys. Rockin' Robin 3. Hello. Do we know Rockin' Robin 3? I feel like that might be new. Hi, that name may be new. Hi, Jody. Let us know. But I also feel like Rockin' Robin 3 might be it sounds familiar. Do I know you? These names, you guys. I wish we could just, you know, have it be our name so I could be like, oh, I remember you. How do I pronounce Hayden's last name?
Panettiere.
Do you know? Panettiere?
Yeah.
Hayden Panettiere. Okay. She recently opened up about her estranged relationship with her mother, Leslie Vogel. Her mother managed her career from childhood. Everything was business, Hayden recalled. I became the confidant and the assistant and the therapist and the shoulder to cry on and everything but her child. When I started self-harming in the form of substance abuse, she said, when things shifted for her, her people-pleasing had built up and up. It was anger and anxiety and frustration. She says, my life revolved around other people and I lived to make other people happy. And that was the last one on the list. So I saw one clip. I know I have heard of her, but I don't think I've ever seen her in anything, watched her. So
I think you'd be surprised.
Or maybe I've seen her and I didn't know.
Yeah, she has been in a lot of things, and she's been a child actor since she was like 4 months old. So she was in soap operas and things like that. But do you remember the movie Remember the Titans?
I do, but I didn't see it. I don't see a lot.
So she was the young girl in there that followed her dad, who was a coach, around everywhere. And she has some spunk and tenacity and all kinds of fire in her eyes. And like, she was going to tell everybody what to do. She knew more about football than half those guys on the team. And she was like 11 years old in this movie. Right. And so when you look at the characters she's played, how is it that she's really completely opposite of the characters she's played? So she played that strong character in Remember the Titans, but I don't know if anybody out there remembers that show Nashville that Connie Britton was in, and she was the pop star on this and da 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 da. Well, so she was the pop star, and if you look back at that and listening to what's going on, and she just recently wrote a tell-all book, then you get to look at the fact that she maybe played a little bit closer to her real life persona on that Nashville show than an actual character.
Interesting.
So that's something I thought we could take a look at a little bit more.
Okay, I'm liking this. So what do you think we should start with? Like, what do we want to know?
I have dogs trying to be in the show.
That's okay. Dogs are so cute. They can be on. Not children, but dogs. Just kidding. Okay, I'm going to unmute you. Hold you can't. Oh, bye, Denise. Okay. All right. So let's keep going. Denise has dogs. Like she has 2 dogs, but it feels like 10, sort of like how mine are. And we lost your camera, Denise.
Oh my, I'm trying.
But that's okay. Why don't you tell me a couple lead questions? Okay. And okay, see you later. Live TV. Denise. Oh, she's in. What does she have to say in the private chat? Can you hear me, Denise? Nope. All right.
I can. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. Give me a couple questions while you set up the mic.
What the heck happened? Holy buckets. Okay.
While you set up the video.
Okay. So one of the things that I'm kind of curious as to what we want to find out, because she's estranged from her mother based on, being a child actor. But then after she gave birth to her own daughter, she gave full custody to the baby's father because she suffered from substance abuse and mental health issues. And so is the question I want to know is that for her daughter or is that for herself? Because her daughter's 11, her dad lives in Europe, and so she's allowed her to just stay with her dad because she's created a stable life.
Okay. So you want to know why Hayden made this decision?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of curious to, what's the motivation for that? Because obviously she did not have a good relationship with her own mom. So,
Okay. All right. You work on your camera. Let me see. So what I'm doing, you guys, for anyone that's new, I have pictures here of Hayden. I read through the eyes. And so I'm utilizing the pictures to answer this question.
and I'm back.
You're still black, but you're back.
I am?
You are.
Not on my end.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, this is there you are. All right.
Sorry, everyone. I do not know what's going on in the world.
It's not your fault. Okay. For Hayden giving up her child, I feel like she's not just lucky, but also really actually evolved this time around because she was able to compartmentalize her pain and suffering, but not a lot of times I understand this is different in the medical community, and I'm by no means a doctor or therapist. What I have experienced in reading certain individuals is the compartmentalizing of behavior it's almost like it turns on you and it can and it creates this mental illness. I read that in Selena. I felt that in Britney Spears, where they compartmentalized so much suffering and they didn't have the capacity to then do something with it and actually kind of keep pushing through it and become move up and out of it. Whereas Hayden has compartmentalized a lot of her suffering, but it hasn't gotten the best of her. Like she will not allow it to overtake her or cause her to go down a road of struggling with mental illness. She's very aware of what she does, even if what she's doing is at the time difficult and painful and traumatic. She feels to me like the epitome of the definition of a selfless mother, of knowing that her child would get the best life there. And if she was selfish and was like, I can't be away from her, she would have exposed her to things that she couldn't control. So I really, really admire her energy and her tenacity and her wisdom and her selflessness with his child. It's really incredible. So that's the place, that's where I feel and felt her coming from when she made that decision. She is going to reintroduce herself into her child's life when she knows it's the right time. And I know they're not completely estranged, but for her, like what that means for her on a much deeper level.
Yeah, because
Go ahead.
because her daughter is 11.
That's okay. She can bark while you talk.
Okay,
We'll be
so
okay.
okay, so I feel Rosalie, honey, it's okay. So I feel like she really has the capacity, just like you said, to compartmentalize that, because I feel like because she's in such a weird space being a child actor from the time she was 4 months old, because her mother was a soap opera actress.
Oh, I didn't read which soap opera.
A couple of different ones. I think it was The Guiding Light, and
Oh, I watched Days of Our Lives back in the day.
I did too.
You did. So it, yeah. Now, do you have questions about her mother?
Yes, because her mother's kind of like, well, when she grows up, kind of like really flippant. I saw, I should have put this in the notes that I sent you, but it was more of a, well, I cut her off. So it was kind of like a tit for tat kind of thing. Like it wasn't the daughter's idea, it was my idea. And when she gets over her substance issues and this issue and that issue, then, maybe we can talk. But, up until that point, we all have to live our own lives. Okay, good. Your dogs are barking too. Sorry, everyone. Oh, and Joanne's dog is growling at my dog's barking. This is what happens when it's a full moon and everybody's out of sorts.
So what I think is interesting about mom. Okay, you guys. All right, it's okay. It's fine. What I think is interesting about her mom is mom grew deeply jealous, insecure when Hayden started to really shine. And I don't mean shine as a performer and in a celebrity way. I meant have this voice, internal voice, and this internal light that was bound for greatness. But please hold this. Let me explain greatness. Greatness not meaning celebrity. Greatness not meaning fame and fortune. Greatness meaning someone who was going to teach. Because ultimately, Hayden is going to be teaching and being of service to so many people because of this life experience. But that strength and that light was very intimidating for her mother. Never mind, on top of that, this direct caddy competition, being in the same, field as her, blah, blah. Like, to me, that's very catty and expected from her mother, unfortunately. But what was the question? I lost it with all the dogs barking.
The question was, what's her mother's relationship to all of this? Because she's very cavalier about, well, maybe if she gets her life together, we'll have a relationship. So she's really dismissed Hayden and everything that's been going on.
Yes. What I wanted to say to that too is when Hayden never, again, bear with me. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. Obviously, I don't know addiction. From an energetic place, as I continue to speak about Hayden's energy and her capabilities, I don't feel she was ever an addict in the traditional sense of the word. I feel like she always she knew what she was doing and could stop, but was so depressed that the depression is what led to it versus an addictive personality. That's what I want to say. And because of her consciousness, she knew that she knew she's like, this is a phase, it's going to stop, and I'm going to stop it. And so mom is just doing everything in her power to make Hayden look small and look bad and all these silly things just to keep herself looking like a good mother. Don't nobody fall for it. I don't think anyone is, but yeah. All right. Anything else? Oh, let's look at the comments with my glasses. I love the dogs. Okay. Well,
That's
glad.
Because I apparently have 12 of them in my house, even though there's 2.
I think oh no, there's the neighbors out. Okay. Anything else on Hayden?
I'm kind of curious to seeing where her career is going to go now that she's written this tell-all book, because based on your thought that she's going to teach, is she going to stay in the acting arena, or is she going to switch gears a little bit and come back to what she talked about in her book, which I have not read? So
I feel like she's going to get into more of a she to me, she feels like she genuinely loves the artistic craft of acting. And we'll get into more situations where she feels safe and supported and is doing something from a therapeutic love of doing the work. Documentaries, I see her behind the camera more than she may do more books for sure, but I don't feel that's really where she's going to be. That's just one outlet. I feel like she's going to be behind the camera and she's going to be speaking a lot about the work that she's creating, producing, directing. She feels to me like she's still in the womb of healing. And then once that she comes out of that, that's when we're going to see her name in different places doing different things, but still in the arts, but teaching through the arts.
okay, I like that.
All right.
Because I always thought she was so fiery and spunky, and I liked her in everything I've ever seen her in. And kind of like you, I was like, oh, I don't really. And then I was like, oh, yeah. So I've probably seen her in a million things.
Yeah, and didn't know it. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like Drew Barrymore a little bit. You know, you forget all of the things that she was in.
Oh, I'm sorry, it took me a second. Like Drew Barrymore. Yes. And you kind of get so used to seeing the face, you don't. Yeah, that's very true. All right. Anything else? If not, let's move on. We are going to move on from the drama for a sec to the home front. We're stepping into the spirit of the house, uncovering what the walls remember and what the energy reveals. It's the energy in the home, not the way the home looks.
Okay, I might have to start a GoFundMe for this place. Today, we're touring the Stonehenge-shaped mid-century modern masterpiece designed by the one, the only Bruce Goff.
This home comes as close as possible to almost a perfect energetic experience. It feels like this architect had an uncanny ability to communicate with the earth that he was building on. This home is open, it's serene, it lends itself to creativity, productivity. It brings a sense of calm, contentment, and balance to those that live there. The only downfall I feel is you may find that your head is in the clouds a little too much. You may find that sometimes you're getting ahead of yourself, connecting to the earth, reminding yourself to ground yourself, something we should all be doing anyway, and we should all be connecting to the earth that our home is on. All right, let's get back to it with our energy check-in case update desk with Blake and Justin. So let's first start with the flashback. We're going to give you a little reminder of what our first read of these two was like.
I think she made a lot of it up to start with. I feel like there was something going on behind the scenes, and then she tried to blame him. And it was more of a he said, she said. And I think his quote unquote retaliation, if you will, was more to do with her damaging his name and reputation more so than just retaliating against her just for the sake of retaliating.
I feel they started out as like it was going really good. Like I feel like they started out, they really saw eye to eye. There was like a mutual respect, and then something happened and it just went off the rails fast. She takes issue when she's not able to get her way. A part of it feels a little bit like a spoiled behavior, and part of it is being assertive and, you know, going for what she feels she wants and needs, which she should. Justin is not innocent in any of this, but he underestimated who he was going up against. She can portray herself as sort of soft-spoken, light, fun, easy, and then when you cross her, everything changes. But those two have been silent and disconnected the moment that spark, whatever it was, derailed them. They were not even in communication.
The thing that came up for me when you were first talking about this, her husband is Ryan Reynolds. What do you think his involvement is?
That there may have been an uncomfortableness with him and the relationship the two of them were having, that it was too close for comfort. She had to sort of start backpedaling, and that's where things just started to get nuts. And I don't think he really knows the truth. There was no cheating. I don't think she was 100% honest with her husband on what derailed this. So he's just reacting from what he's been told from her, not necessarily from the truth. I don't feel anyone has any control over the narrative anymore. I feel like it's just spiraling. All right. So this legal battle officially settled earlier this month after nearly 2 years of lawsuits, public accusations. God, that went on for 2 years. I feel like it just started. PR warfare and internet speculation surrounding the movie It Ends With Us, despite Blake Lively allegedly pushing for an NDA. Her settlement with Baldoni doesn't include one. Whoa. This means Baldoni could soon share his side of the story publicly, and it seems that day may be coming soon. According to a May 13 report from In Touch, Baldoni's already exploring his options and considering writing a tell-all book. Oh my God, these people. All right, what do we want to know about this one? Can I say you can feel... let me start. You start with the questions first. Tell me what you think we need to look at.
Okay, so what is she trying to hide?
Okay.
I think she's trying to cover her tracks.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me see. So there's she's there. Okay. So stating the obvious, there's something she's hiding. And she's hiding it from her husband. She's also hiding it from the public. And it's this it can feel like this little thing in her that causes her to like wake up sweating and like freaking out. And it's the truth. And let me explain what that means. There was no affair, but she portrays herself one way in public, but doesn't act like that behind the scenes. And she will portray, I think I said this before, she'll portray someone who's really easygoing and easy to work with until you cross her, and then that switches right away. And she doesn't want people to know that and see that. But there was a manipulation tactic that's happening with this whole NDA. Like the whole, ultimately, it feels like this NDA was what the bulk of conversation and back and forth was based on, and it was used as a manipulation tool. And I honestly, I don't know. I could be wrong about this, but I don't know. Right now I feel like I don't feel like Justin Baldoni is going to really have this tell all. I don't think he is. I think he wants to preserve his place in Hollywood and knows that it's like both of them, with this, the way it's settled, they're both like, okay, we can go our separate ways and work still. But if he pushes this, just if he pushes it even a little bit more, I feel like they will find ways to blackmail him, keep him out. And I just don't think his tell-all book is going to be that much of what we already know. There'll be some things in there, but I would be shocked if he full on smeared her worse than he already has. As right now, I feel that he knows damn well that if he stays the course, they can just get on with their work. And if he doesn't, there will be trouble.
Yeah, because she's still she still retains the rights to her case that she's got against the punitive and treble damages under the California Civil Code, which is the Protecting Survivors from Weaponized Defamation. And the judge has pretty much given I don't want to hear any more from you two, basically. And he's thrown out 10 of the 13 things. So from what I could understand, from what I read, he's read this other stuff. He's just not made a ruling on it yet. And there's no date timeline for that. But now, because the movie was filmed in New York and New Jersey, they have a law pending on the books, basically the same type of law that California has. And so she's now trying to file suit in those states.
Interesting. Yeah, I was going to say that there's this the reason why she keeps pushing this is sort of like, thou protest too much, like, and a lot of this she's not doing because of the situation or the public. She's doing it to prove to her husband that it's not what you think. It's not what you think. Like, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is not okay. And it's like, you want to say, like, you're protesting too much. Like, it's getting awkward now. Like, stop. Like, whatever you need to work out with your husband, we've all moved on. Like, you need to work that out. Yeah. So it feels now like it's getting to this awkward, you're protesting too much. Like, Lively, stop. Just quietly go away and have a conversation with your husband, fix whatever you got going on in that relationship, and move on. Because she's never been in a position like this before where someone stood up to her. She didn't think, he underestimated her and she underestimated him. And that's how they ended up in this position. And she came at it from an underestimating, because her whole life was pretty sheltered and pretty gifted and entitled. And he came from a place of, wait, what are you doing? Like, that's not how we do things. And he's by no means, an angel in this either. It's 50-50, but they're coming from two different worlds. Hers is an entitled, no one's ever done this to me before. And he's coming from a, wait, that's not how you work with people. Like, that's not going to work for me. So yeah.
Yeah. So then my question about him is, did he hire a crisis PR team to defamate her character?
Did he hire someone?
Yeah. Because there was a PR crisis team that she was also going after in her lawsuit, and his production company and him.
Okay.
So I'm curious. Kim wants to know, will Blake and Ryan's marriage be over because of this?
No.
Mm-mm.
No.
No, I think they're two peas in a pod.
Yeah, there's too much. I feel like it's a genuine relationship, but on top of that, because of the obvious optics, that keeps it together even more. But I don't feel Justin Baldoni by any means purposely did any defaming of her. Did the PR that both PR companies feel sketchy is like really sketchy, and sketchy by our terms. I'm sure what they do all the time is considered normal, but sketchy by our terms, by humanity's terms.
Yeah.
But he himself is not that. Right. So he would not have approved that. He wouldn't have said, yes, do that. I feel like this whole thing, he was trying to settle quietly. He was trying to have conversations with her. He was trying to, and they both kept because there was this just like shock that someone would ever go against them. And they weren't understanding why he kept trying to have a conversation with them about it when they were like, there's this sense of, what are you doing? Like, we told you, knock it off. Meaning we don't want to talk about it, meaning we get the last word. We tell you how this goes. And he just, it's not in his makeup to be that passive. So
no, and I think he was as passive as he was going to be by trying to come to an agreement. And then when she was just pushing back as much as he was, she was like, all right, fine. You want to go to blows? We'll go to blows.
Yeah, because he was not going to not force a conversation. He was going to absolutely force conversation because it needed. I feel like for him, everything was coming from a place of the production of this movie couldn't go on until this conversation was had. And although it could go on, he didn't want it to go on until they had this conversation. And they just were... Someone was pushing them out. He was controlling them, and he didn't like that they did not like that he was in control, even though he wasn't viewing it from a place of control or not. It was just, we need to get stuff done. So anyway, that's it. No, it's
the short answer is no.
Yeah, I don't see, they're not, I don't ever see them breaking up.
Yeah, they're a pretty solid duo.
Mm-hmm.
As far as Hollywood marriages would go, to be honest.
I agree. Any other questions, you guys, around this? All right. Let's move on. Let's see what Denise's intuition radar this week has to say with Denise's dish.
When's the last time you just played? And I don't mean scroll TikTok for an hour. I mean played. Built something, drew something, danced in your kitchen, jumped in a puddle just because you could, or laughed so hard you snorted. If you're sitting there thinking, Denise, I'm an adult and I don't have time for that, this is exactly why we need to talk. Here's what the research is telling us. It isn't just for kids. It is literally how our brains process stress, build connection, and spark creativity. When we play, we release dopamine, lower our cortisol levels. That's our stress hormone. And we activate the same neural pathways that keep us curious, flexible, and alive inside. But here's the deeper layer, and this is the part I really want you to hear. Inside every single one of us lives our inner child. That's the younger version of you, the one who knew how to be fully present in a moment, the one who could lose track of time finger painting or spinning in circles just because it was fun to be dizzy. That child didn't disappear when you grew up. They just got buried under deadlines, responsibilities, and the pressure to have it all together. When you deny yourself play, you're essentially telling that little version of you, your joy doesn't matter anymore. That's where a lot of our anxiety, our burnout, and that hollow feeling comes from, that emptiness. So here's your homework for this week. I want you to give your inner child 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. Call her something, play a song you loved at 12, do a cartwheel or attempt one, or I don't know, maybe, but be careful. And let yourself be a little silly. You're not too old. You're not too busy. Play is not a reward for finishing your chores. Play is the work of staying human. And that's Denise's dish.
All right. Next up, Denise took us up. We're all going to play, and now we got to come back down. This is the devastating case of Ashley Robinson. She was a 31-year-old lifestyle content creator and social media influencer who tragically died on April 9th of this year. She was on vacation in Zanzibar, Tanzania. She passed just days after getting engaged. Robinson was found unresponsive in her villa at the Zuri Zanzibar Hotel and was pronounced deceased at a local hospital. Tanzania police stated the couple had an altercation earlier that day, prompting hotel staff to place them in separate villas. Fiancé Joe McCann, 45, reported to the authorities in Zanzibar and her family that she died by suicide. Robinson's family and loved ones have actively disputed the suicide claims, expressing disbelief and demanding a deeper investigation into the timeline and events leading to her death. The autopsy conducted in Zanzibar and one that was done privately by the family have not been released yet. Whew, this is interesting. So I'm going to pull up some pictures of them. Yeah. Yeah. So here's what I feel like he found her before he found her in her villa. He went to hers. Is that what they're calling them? Little and yeah. He was there when she died. So I could see him in her room when she passed. Right now, I'm feeling like it was a I think she may somehow she, like, I don't know if there was a gun present, but I think she wasn't suicidal. I don't know if maybe drugs and alcohol were involved, because I feel like she turned the gun on herself, either metaphorical gun or there was an actual gun. When I say metaphorical guns, because if it wasn't a gun, I don't know what device was used or what she did, but it feels like he was there and somehow she turned it on herself is what I'm saying. Whether it was on purpose or not, like it could have been a knife and it got by accident, like he was threatening her with it and it was somehow it got turned on her is what I'm trying to say. Did she turn it on herself because she was suicidal? No. But whatever the thing is, it was turned on her. So could have been strangulation. It could have been, I'm not trying to like guess the way she died as much as I'm trying to figure out, like, that's what I keep hearing is it was turned on her. So whether she was, just being stupid and pointing the gun at herself and threatening, but was not intending to, had a knife and was not intending to, but he instigated it. I don't think he actually pulled the trigger. You're muted.
So from some of the stuff, like When I first came across this case, this was back in late March, early April when it first happened. And I watched a video that was supposedly from the surveillance camera before the hotel separated the two of them, because somebody else in another villa called and said something's going on in there.
Okay.
And it was pretty rough. It was pretty rough. He then said that she hung herself on the door, and that's how she died. Now, I'm not familiar with having to do any of those kinds of things, but and if somebody knows more information, please share in the comments, because I don't know how you could possibly do that from like a door. Like I don't know that.
You mean hang yourself from a door?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how my uncle passed. If my mom's watching, if I'm not mistaken, that's where he was found.
Because like it seems like it would take so long for that to then occur. I have no idea. Like I don't know how that. I don't know if you would lose your breath before you pass. Like I have no idea. It just seems like your feet would hit the floor first. I don't know.
Yeah.
But at any rate, but again, they have not released the results of the autopsy. He was detained, but he has not been arrested.
Okay.
And he's a bit older than her. He's 45 and she's 31.
What I don't see is I don't see contact. It reminds me of that case we did, Denise, just recently. What was her name in the boating accident?
Oh, Hooker. That's not her first
Lynette.
name.
Lynette Hooker.
Yeah.
Because you've got these two men that are deeply abusive, and every red flag in the book, and everything is pointing in their direction. And yet I don't see, I'm not saying they didn't start it, instigate it, set it up. Like, I'm not saying that, but I'm not seeing connection. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not seeing in that moment, I'm not seeing him physically take her life. I'm seeing, like with Lynette Hooker, same thing. Like, was he a problem? Yes. Did he have a role in it? Yes.
Right.
But did he actually drown her? No.
Right.
He wasn't sitting there watching her drown and not do anything. Right. And I'm feeling a similar thing here. You look at his picture and it's all the red flags, but I'm not seeing a connection. But he was there. Like, he witnessed and was instigated, but I don't feel he ultimately did it.
Yeah. So then one of my questions was she happy to be engaged?
So the problem,
to him, I guess that's a pretty loaded question. I realize that now that I said that.
I think the problem we have here is such classic domestic violence, and a woman who was in such a dangerous situation but loved him. And so you have that. I feel like as whether it's healthy or not, there was love. And she couldn't, I'm not feeling a woman yet. Like, she was also very tough and she held her own. And so there's this false sense of, I can hold my own to this guy. And instead of noticing that she didn't deserve to be in that position. Like, you can hold your own, yes, but he shouldn't be treating you that way, full stop. You shouldn't have to hold your own.
Right.
You
Right.
shouldn't be so, yeah. And the energy and emotion was so heated and so aggressive from both of them. I'm not saying she was abusive at all to him, but the emotion was aggressive towards each other. The constant fight and make up, fight and make up, fight and make up. And the fighting was just intense as the making up, and the love was just as intense as the fighting. And so I just, the thing is, her sober, I don't feel her as suicidal. I agree. I don't feel a suicidal woman. I think there may have been drinking or something else involved that, you know, messed with her a little bit.
And that was
no.
one of the things that I was wondering also. I wrote some of these things down, and I don't know where that paper went, so I apologize. But it's kind of like everything else today, I guess. It's just, it'll show up. But at any rate, so that was one of my questions. Was this, and it sounds like it was this normal aggressive behavior from them? Or did they drink something or eat something? Because they were in a different country, sometimes things that people eat on a regular basis in their own country is no big deal to them. But yet, if for those of us that come from somewhere else and we're not familiar with it, it affects us differently. So, because that was one of the things that I was wondering about when you did your case with Savannah and the guy that ended up jumping out the window and nobody could understand why. And because he was at the hotel and he had gone somewhere, and I was like, did they give him, you know, in that lab or whatever, I'm like, did they give him something that caused him to have a psychotic break? So that's kind of what I was wondering with this too. Is there some kind of connection with something that they were unfamiliar with, or was it a conscious choice?
You know, honestly, it's this similar to the Lynette Hooker case. I feel like everything is so emotional. Like it's like things need to just sort of settle for a minute before I can't see through the chaos, because I feel like the reason for that is with this case and with Lynette's case is once these men sobered up, whether it was literally sobering up or just sobering up from their aggressiveness, they're so deeply regretful, which is like what they do. That's what typical abusive men do, right? They go from this insanely aggressive place to this deep regret. And yet, though, neither one of them pulled the trigger. And so I can't get a read on what caused her to do this.
Yeah. Because there's still a lot of chaos around it, because, you know, her family did a service here, but he was not allowed to be there, you know, so there's still a lot of moving and missing parts, I think. But I just thought, because, you know, her family doesn't believe she would have, you know, done that. And, you know, he's acting as if he's, you know, and I'm sure he is very tragically upset over this whole, incident. But I think he's disassociated from the fact that he had anything to do with it, because he didn't do the actual act.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think once the autopsy is released, I don't think that he's going to be arrested. I don't feel like that, but I think they're going to see things a little more clearly.
I'm looking at another picture. Keep going. Yeah. I'm just looking at another picture while you talk.
Yeah. So that's kind of why I feel like he, you know, they'll be like, oh, you know, I think it's going to be the old, you know, they can't prove it. But yeah, somehow he Initiated
you-
it, instigated it,
can't- the
started
truth-
it.
And the truth is, with him and with the Lynette Hooker cases, you can't be that violent and not have a hand in it, even if
Mhm.
that hand wasn't directly like, and that's, I think, what's probably always hard in cases like these for, you know, for these cases when they go to trial or when, you know, when police look at it, because their hand isn't the one that technically, you know,
Right.
offed these poor women, but they were clearly the reason that this happened. They were clearly
Right.
the reason. If they were not in their lives, this wouldn't have happened.
Right.
So that's what I'm feeling from this is like, I don't know that they'll ever be able to connect dots. They,
Yeah.
but I think where there may be hope is he was in the room and he saw her pass. However she did that, he was
And
in
he
the
could have-
room.
And he could have done something to prevent it or called the authorities sooner, or, you know.
He could have. Here's the weird thing is, if you're saying she hung herself, then look how big he is.
Mm-hmm.
He could have stopped that.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's true, that she did it all on her own, and he didn't force her somehow to physically do that, or he set her up in that position after she had already passed, let's just assume what he's saying is true. He could have prevented that, and he didn't. So if we just go with she threatened to take her own life because they were fighting and she was feeling what she was feeling, he could have stopped her from that.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't.
And why did he go back to her room after the hotel staff separated them?
Right. Because 100% he was in there and he saw
Right.
her pass.
Right.
That I know. I'm just getting fuzzy on
The how.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we might have to revisit this one once we get some more details, because I think a part of me feels like the reason we can't get the how is because it's not, even the autopsies aren't public knowledge yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I just thought it was so sad. You know, here they appeared to be this really happy couple, and then, you know, just hours before they got engaged, and then all hell breaks loose, and you know, and then she dies. So I was just like, what?
You know what's so funny is, you know, if you're ever out and you're like, you see a couple sort of bickering and like you can tell they're just bugging each other and they're just like, I don't want to bug. Like you see that and you're like, oh wow, look at them, they're fighting, you know, and you're like, oh, they're normal like us. Like that's how we do that. Like seeing that is so much more refreshing, because every single case is this couple that portrayed themselves as, you know, this really happy couple and portrayed themselves as, it's just like, it's all such BS. It's like the second someone portrays themselves as happy, like for my not my intuition, but my instinct is to go, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. You know, if I see you bickering, I'm like, oh, good for you. You're a normal, healthy couple. But anyway, I think, yes, I think you're right. I think we revisit it, because the more we're talking about it, the more I'm feeling like there may have been a setup, and they may be able to catch him in that setup. I don't know if I said this earlier, that never, but I'm going to take that back if I said they'll never be able to put the pieces together. I think they may be able to put pieces together, but I would be surprised if they were able to say, like, black and white, this is what happened.
This is what happened, and this is how it happened, and he did it. This is the part he played in it, and yada yada yada. Yeah.
I think there's a setup that he covered up. I think he did it. There's a cover up there. And what do they say? If the cover up is worse than the crime, although in this case it's not, but the cover up may be where they're able to catch him. and hold him responsible somehow. Okay, so yes, make a note. Let's absolutely revisit this one. I definitely want to know details. Okay, you guys. So what are we doing next? We've got our post show where we're going to be talking about the royal family. Scan the QR code. Come join us. 7 days free trial. Otherwise, hang tight. We're gonna end this with a moment of Zen, peace, and just some happy thoughts. So we'll see you all tonight or Thursday or in 2 weeks. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale, blow it out. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale, blow it out. Relaxing the shoulders, forehead. Feel the jaw release. Wiggle the fingers and the toes to make sure they're not clenched. Notice if the belly is soft, relaxed. And feel the belly as it moves with the breath. Feeling yourself rooted, grounded, as if Mother Earth is pulling you down into the center, holding you, protecting you, taking from you anything you no longer need. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale, blow it out. That's your pop therapy for today.